I guess we'll kick it off now. So thanks very much everyone for joining us this morning for our 30-minute webinar on Microsoft Secure Score. I'm Abby Timmins. I'm an Azure Sales Specialist here at Codec, and I'm going to give you a brief introduction as to who Codec are before I hand you over to my colleague Tushar for the presentation. If anyone has any questions now throughout the presentation, feel free to throw them into the chat here so then we'll get back to them and answer them as soon as we can. So just so you know who you are working with today, Codec are a Microsoft Azure Expert Managed Service Provider, or MSP if you like, and a Tier 1 CSP partner. So we have all the capabilities to complete any job and challenge that your organization may have. We have 300 plus employees who are all trained up with their technical certs. We're all dedicated to helping your organizations achieve the best. All our employees are spread across all of our business areas and capabilities, which you can see here on the next slide. We offer our supports across Azure Cloud, business applications, financial solutions, and also our BA/QA services. And we are very proud to be the largest independent Microsoft partner in the Republic of Ireland and the UK. So there is evidence to support what I've said, that we are good at what we do and we care about what we do, and that can be seen here with the awards that we've received over the last number of years, which shows that Microsoft also does support and recognise us in what we do. We hold 10 Dynamics 365 Partner of the Year awards and 12 Gold certs, as well as the Microsoft Country Partner of the Year and Azure Expert MSP status. So as I said, we do know what we're talking about, and we're good at what we do, and we are rewarded for the work that we do by Microsoft. So thank you very much everyone for joining us today, and now I'm happy to pass you over to Tushar, who will be presenting now for the rest of this presentation.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Abby. Let me know when my screen is visible. I hope everyone can see my screen now.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on Thursday morning. We are almost through the weekend. A really warm, I believe. So it's going to be a warm weekend. So we are going to talk about today what is Microsoft Secure Score, how does it work, and what's in it for you, basically, and what all things that basically gets resolved with basically having a quick view of your Secure Score. Before getting into it, I'll just give a quick introduction of myself. So my name is Tushar Kumar. I'm Cloud Security Lead in Codec, and I work with customers day in, day out, looking at their security needs, their Azure needs in terms of making a world-class infrastructure and providing a best-in-class security architecture for you. So without any delay, I will move forward and we'll just have a quick view of, we'll just have a quick view of how the breaches happen at this point of time. So if you see 95% of the breaches, and this is nothing to scare you off or make you say that your IT is not doing something well. It's basically depends on it's basically a human nature to forget things, or maybe design while we are doing the design, maybe we ignore a couple of things, we accept the risk or something like that. So it's basically 95% of the breaches at this point of time which happens is because of not having a proper hygiene. And when I say proper hygiene, that means you don't care at some point of time, like, okay, I have to give someone access to your Azure environment or your M365 environment, and he needs a couple of custom rules, and whoever is providing access, they might be a bit lazy around finding that, okay, I need to give him an application administrator role only or a user access administrator role only, and they go with a role of global admin. And you end up with too many global admins. And as everyone knows, whoever has used Azure Active Directory or M365 environment, the global admin is the god of that environment. He can do anything and everything with that particular environment. Not having proper like DLP policies, not having your data policies in place to make sure that there is no sharing between like unauthorized sharing outside your organization or within your organization. Your users are not doing some, let's say, not sharing credit card details or a company credit card details over their chats or maybe on their managed devices or something like that. Couple of things can be around this is not having a proper like identity setup, which will be you don't have any multi-factor authentication in place, and which is earlier it used to be like good to have thing. Now it is a must-have thing looking at the attack surface, the way it is increased and the attack vectors that we are seeing at this point of time. So multi-factor authentication is must-have, but that doesn't solve like 100% of your problems, because there is always going to be some factors. There is always going to be the defense in depth of the methodology. If you see, the first layer is going to be identity, but after that we have other layers to secure as well. Also from your environment perspective, right, if your Azure environment is not configured correctly, and when I say not configured correctly, it is working as it is working fine for you. You have all the functionality that you need, but there is a certain functionalities, there is a certain things likes of your app service, likes of your let's say web apps, likes of your logic apps. If they are not tied up properly and if they're publicly accessible, that can be exploited. So you need to put measures on that, and you need to see how it is. You need to see what all the deprecated protocols, if there is any application is using that, if there is any services within your cloud environment is using that. So basically it's all about the hygiene in terms of maybe you have this in place already, your organization strictly follows that, okay, there is no TLS 1.0 will be in the overall environment. But the way it works is maybe you leave a couple of systems behind where you haven't upgraded your TLS version, or where you haven't like disallowed this application to use TLS at 1.0. So that's where we get into this. We are looking at multiple things here. So from the hygiene perspective, what we do is we start with user, we look at the process, we look at the technology, and we look at the tools. So, and all of these requires a proper visibility from your side in terms of understanding how the users are behaving, in terms of understanding what technology you have, what tools you have, and what is the process in place. And that all makes a proper governance around security, and as well as gives you proper posture management. So making this possible, making this is like really hard. So when we are looking at assessments, when we are looking at the overall transformation across your domain, it's really hard because the depth of controls that we are looking at is really big. So in terms of monitoring, in terms of your best practice compliance recommendation, in terms of your devices, everything comes under it comes under the same single pane where we are talking about a overall security posture. So when we look at this overall picture, what happens is you have a breadth of tools. In terms of the breadth is really big. So if you see in terms of different tools, so you have different tools for threat management, you have different tools for threat detection, you have for cloud app security, you have for different tools for information security, you have different tools for cloud configuration, you have different tools for your data management, and so on. So it can be a really huge list. Even the ones that you are seeing on the screen is not covering the overall, the 360 view of your overall estate. But the way it works is when we are looking at this huge amount of tools, when you're looking at huge amount of security controls, so the security controls can go into thousands, and the tools and apps can go into hundreds, like in a normal day. If you pick any compliance, you'll get sorry, you'll get thousands of security controls within that. You'll get if you pick a couple of security controls, that will derive into, again, a couple of other security apps and tools. So having a view of that, having all those measures in place is really important for your organization to safeguard your organization, and as well as in terms of understanding where you stand in terms of security. So how do we get that visibility? That's where the Microsoft Secure Score comes into the picture. And basically we always call that how do we strengthen our security posture with Microsoft Secure Score. So basically it all starts with getting a dashboard. And this is a favorite whenever we talk to C-level, that is always comes in. This term always comes in play. We need a dashboard to see how things are happening. We need a dashboard to see what is the state, right? So basically Microsoft provides two dashboards. When I say Secure Score is basically view of what is your security, what is your posture of your security at this point of time, what all things you're lacking in, what is your state and how you're progressing with that, if there is any risks around that or so on. So basically there are two dashboards that you can get, which is called Secure Score. There is a slight confusion in that for some people as well. So one Secure Score you get from your M365 time point. So if you see on the back of this slide here, so this is the Microsoft Secure Score that we are talking about, which relates to your M365 environment. The second one that we are looking at here is Defender for Cloud Secure Score, which is basically your security posture of your Azure environment. So basically it gives you a full visibility of your enterprise. So the Defender for Cloud Secure Score, it is not tied up with one subscription or your one workload. It gives you a full visibility of all of your subscription within the tenant. So you get enterprise-wide your visibility, and you get all the guidance and all the control recommendations around what is required to fix that issue. And if there is any specific issue that requires some external tools to be deployed, or maybe Microsoft native tools to be deployed, it will give you recommendations around that as well. Okay. So the next question will be, what if my secure score is low? So in this scenario, what we are looking at on the screen here, I'm not sure, I'll just, so this tenant has a secure score of 53.46%. And what that basically means is Microsoft is saying there is a 50% of recommendation sitting in your secure score dashboard that you can put in your M365 environment in terms of your device management, in terms of your identity, in terms of your apps. So if you see here, you will see the breakdown of it. So the identity piece, this guy is doing pretty well. But if you see the devices end, you will see that it is on 46.26%. That means we are lacking somewhere in terms of device management. There can be a possibility where you are seeing all these and you have a measure in place. So let's say the dashboard comes and says, okay, you should be having an EDR solution in place in your in all of your devices. All end user compute should be protected with this, and you might have some different tools from different vendors or something like that, but it flags you first. So you always have an option to put an exemption on that, put a note in this on that exemption that, okay, this guy, what we are doing, it is done by a third-party tool. That's why Microsoft is not able to detect that. But that actually makes a log of it that, okay, you have something in place and you accept the risk if you don't have that. So basically you can accept the risk as well, that okay, I don't want to do that, I'll let anyone exploit my desktops. I'm not worried of that piece. Okay, moving along. So we talked about what is secure score, how your security posture. So basically, this gives a proper view. What is your security posture, your entire digital estate, breakdown by category, and if you have multiple tenants, you can see it individually for each tenant of yours. Okay, so yeah, when we move along with this, basically, it's not just giving you a score and it is giving you a list of basically a couple of numbers saying that, okay, guys, this is your environment. It says 53%, it's 53% secure. Now you would figure out what is the rest of the 47%. So basically what it says is, it never says that remediation, it never says that these are the places you are lacking. It says that these are the improvement actions. That's a, I'll say, positive way of saying this. So the improvement actions, as you can see on the screen at this point, is you have, let's say, you can block the execution of obfuscated scripts. That will give you a 0.92% of additional ones. Again, the next one is what is some block of office application from injecting code. So those things. So basically, it gives you. I'll not get into all of those, but it gives you improvement actions. And when you see the improvement actions, firstly it's self-explanatory, but it doesn't stay there only. It goes into the depth of it. It gives you more details around that what is in there. So if you click on any of those, it basically gives you like this is required MFA for your privileged users. So you can see what is the action plan, what you can do, what all users are affected, where you don't have MFA enabled, and this is a must-have. And if you have a secure score below 65, and there is a Microsoft campaign as well going on to be at least above 69, and when I 65 is basically the benchmark. So it's not that if you are on 65, you have the world-class security controls. It's just 65 is the least, is the bare minimum that we are looking at the moment, just to make sure that anything uh, related to multi-factor authentication, anything related to normal cloud controls and your M365 controls should be in place, just so you can survive through any of the attacks that is in play at these days. So yeah, similarly, the experience that you get within this, right? So how do we achieve this 65 score? How do we make sure that we are getting into, oops, sorry. I'll get back to this. Yeah, so sorry. How do we achieve this score? So we have a couple of ways. We have a couple of ways of, so implementation will always be based on the action plan which your Defender is giving, which your Azure secure score is giving. You need to check what is the remediation plan it has given. Based on that, you can make your own plan. Maybe it is saying to push some policies. Maybe it is saying to implement something uh, within your endpoints, and it is suggesting, okay, go on the machine, install Defender for antivirus, Defender, and then Defender for endpoint, and then like connect it to your Defender for endpoint portal. But in this case, there might be a possibility you do it through GPOs, or you do it through Intune and other things. So you just need to get the view of it, what is required in terms of remediating that particular issue, and as well as what is going to be impact of that particular implementation that we are looking at. And it can be easily integrated, or maybe you can use it as a work item, and you can send it on to teams. You can create a Microsoft Planner task and assign it to someone within your team as well. That will give you a proper tracking of it if someone is working on that. And basically, once you do this, on the previous portal, we have seen, okay, how many to address, how many is planned, how many is risk accepted. So you can basically see what is the risks. and if you have accepted the risk or not, if you have any, like if you have planned tasks and who is assigned to that as well. So yeah, coming back again. Yeah, so basically when we are looking at all of these, it can be integrated with all your systems, or maybe you can, if you have ITSM system, it can be basically integrated with that so that a ticket gets created automatically, and it is all all the time, it's close to real time. Microsoft mentions it's real time. It's close to real time. A few services requires a couple of hours to reflect. So let's say if you remediate a vulnerability, it will take some hours to show up in the portal. But if it detects something, it is going to be real time. A new service gets added to it, if a new endpoint gets added to it, it will be a real time monitoring where you'll be seeing all the issues with that particular device, or issues with that particular user identity or app, whatever is we are onboarding into it. So how can you check and track the report? So basically, from CISO's perspective, basically you can initially generate a report which will give you of what is your current state, and then you can plan out things, and it will basically give you the comparison of your trends in terms of what is what was the score that you projected in the initial stages, and how it is progressing at this point of time, if it is meeting the uh, planned scenarios or not. If it is meeting all those, based on the historical reports, it will tell you if it is actually you are reaching the point where you have projected. Okay, so we talked about the previous screens that you have seen. It's mostly we were looking at M365 Defender. The other piece that we have is called Defender for Cloud, and where we have the secure score. So you have the secure score, and if you can see on the screen, this is the secure score for your Azure environment. And when I say Azure environment, it's basically comes with the Defender for Cloud stack. And if you have Defender for Cloud enabled for your other workloads as well, so if you have Arc enabled machines, no matter if you're running your machines on premises, you can always integrate them with Azure Arc. What will happen is they will show up on cloud. It is not a migration. You will have all the controls. You will be able to see the governance on those machines, and based on that, you can track the secure score within the Defender for Cloud portal, that what is the secure score of that particular environment. That actually applies for all the other clouds as well. So if you are running on AWS, if you are running on GCP, still you can integrate it, and you can see what is the level of secure score that you have. So in this particular example, what we are looking at, current environment is 78. The Azure environment is 78% security posture is, and basically we took a benchmark of 65. So this guy is doing good, I'll say. And the AWS and GCP, we are looking at 42% and 57%. So all of these comes together, and we are looking at an overall picture of 59% of our secure score. That similarly goes around all the workloads you get. If you have other features enabled, I'll not say you go for all the high end of Defender, or you, unless or until there is a need from your side or there is a business need. All of the functionality that Defender comes with, it's really great. So if you want to go with all those, you get all the regulatory compliances, you get the inventory, you get all the information protection, you get a proper view of vulnerability within your servers. So that depends on what all the services that you have opted from Defender side. But looking at the security posture, it is not going to be, it's basic Defender that you have within your Azure environment will be capable of showing you what is the secure score and what all recommendations you have. We talked about the multi-cloud, and I just wanted to show the multi-cloud capabilities of it. So like say you have multiple environments within your Azure, you have multiple subscriptions, it will club everything at one place and show you each and every subscription, what is the secure score for that as well, and what is the overall secure score. So let's say this AC multi-cloud demo subscription is having 35% of secure score, and you can always click on here, which will show you the descriptions of it, that what is the recommendation around this, what all things you're lacking in, and what all things you have. And the recommendations looks like this, where you have, let's say, you have a data lake analytics, and that is having some issues. You have a containers registries, and that those should be using private link or should be restricted with uh, specific IPs. You should be doing some auditing on your custom RBACs. So all of these recommendations comes into picture, where that will strengthen your current security posture. So, and that goes across clouds, across your on-premises, as you can see here, what all are. And once you have remediated, or maybe let's say you have 15 resources and 5 of them are not having some issues, so it will show you, okay, these 10 are the healthy resources and these 5 are not healthy at the moment. And everything has its own like refresh interval, so you can see the freshness interval of each and every workload that we are looking at. Okay, so before this, right, I'll do one thing. I'll go back to the actual portal itself, and we'll see how we can see the secure score on our portal. So secure score is basically available for everyone, even if you are if you are using Azure, you're using M365, it is available within your environment. The only thing is you need to understand it well, and you need to act on it based on the requirements. And basically, you need to make sure that whenever you are doing the remediations, it is not affecting anything, and as well as all the remediation steps that is required. It is not just about when you're accepting some risk, you are accepting it on a proper grounds, because whatever comes out as a secure score recommendation, I'll not say it's 100% required for you, but it is somewhat, I'll say 90 to 95% is needed for your organization. So when you're accepting a risk, when you are doing, okay, exclude this and give me the points, right? You are accepting the risk of breach. Okay, that okay, I am accepting, if this happens, I'll be responsible for that particular piece. So this is what we are looking at in terms of secure score. This is one of the demo environment we are looking at, and we have a 54.74 secure score. And if you look at this one, the identity is at 65%, the data is at 55%, devices as 45, and you have all the actions defined here. There is a couple of actions that is regressed already. There is a couple of actions to be addressed. There is a couple of actions we have where risk is accepted. So you can basically go into any of these, you can click on any of these, and what it will do is it will show you what is required in terms of remediation of these. So you can see what is the exposed identity. So it says there is one device which is exposed at the moment, and it is basically coming from Defender for endpoint. And there is one thing that I like a lot is when you're using M365 and when you're using, let's say, some license around it, and when these kind of things comes, basically a lot of customers ask me, okay, do I have license for that? You are asking me to do some BitLocker on the devices. You are asking me to push Defender antivirus on the devices, but do I have license for that? Do I need to upgrade? So it basically gives you a category over here which says, do you have license for this or not? So there is always going to be two categories, yes and no. So far, this is all yes, but you will see no as well, that you need to upgrade your licenses in terms of applying this particular fix. So maybe if you are running on M365 E3, you need to go on E5. If you're running on Business Premium, you need to go to E3 or E5 to have that particular feature enabled for you. So it will basically give you that. If not, you can, if you think this piece is not something that you want to do, you can just go on this and you can just do an exemption for this one. So you can just go into M365 Defender here and you can just exclude that. Okay, that is more around what we are looking at from M365 Defender perspective, and you can see the website is if you want to see the website is going to be security.microsoft.com/securescore, and it is available on the left-hand side menu of your M365 admin center as well. So you will be able to see all the secure score here. Similarly, we have the same kind of experience what we get in Azure as well. So this is the portal that I was showing earlier, where we have, yeah, on the screenshots. So where we have the security posture defined. So it is just an Azure environment. So it is 64% at this point of time. We are looking at workload protections. Also, if you're looking at recommendations, what all recommendations that it gives based on that 64%, right? It also gives you what all is giving you that 64%. So let's say enable MFA for all of your users. And if you're looking at MFA, this is 10 out of 10 you're getting, which is the maximum, and you have it completed. Some secure your management ports we are looking at here. So there are different internet facing virtual machines. So these kind of things basically gets easily left out. So you have an internet facing machine and you left the port 3389 open for that. So it will flag it straight away that, okay, listen, this machine is internet facing and you have opened 3389, you are very likely to get a brute force attack on that machine. You're very likely to get exposed from there. So all the management ports, it gives you access around that. It gives you information around that. If you have Defender for servers enabled, it will give you the vulnerability assessment solutions as well. And it is tied up with Qualys, so it gives you in-depth analysis of your machines as well. Anything related to the VA piece is you're getting as a part of more of Defender functionalities in terms of when you go for a Defender for servers, but there is still a lot of these that comes as a free solution, which is the basic cloud security posture, where you are getting all the adaptive controls, endpoint protection, and all those specific the specific recommendations around the cloud security only, not getting into any of your workload security or basically any misconfiguration or left out configurations on cloud environment. Yeah, so moving along. So this is basically a view of it at this point of time for the both of the secure score. And so the question arises is, what is your organization security wide, your organization wide security posture? So first thing, the first action will be to check your secure score. What is it? If you are below 65, you are the prime candidate for applying all these. So you need to first start looking at, even if you are above 65, there is always measures that you can improve. So the questions will be, what should I do next? So if you are looking at your secure score, look at what all things you need to do, what all things you have at this point of time as a recommendation coming out. If you don't know how to look, where is that, you can get some external help. You can contact us, we can help you out in terms of getting your secure score, understanding it, what it is. How do you monitor it? So you have to basically align with it, either with your managed service provider. If it is Kodak, you can align with us, getting the secure score and then monitoring your secure score going forward. Moving along with how you can prepare a report basically for your leadership. So secure score is easily exportable. So you get an export out of your you can get an export out of your secure score dashboard, and that you can present to your leadership. And also, as I was showing, you can track the changes, you can track the targets that you have set. That will give your management ease that, okay, the guys are working on this and this is what can be expected. You get all the visibility around what is the licensing needs that you have, if you need to upgrade your licenses in terms of M365 licenses, if you need to enroll your server. So let's say it flags you that you don't have a vulnerability assessment solution in place for your servers. So do you need a way? I won't say just blindly go with Microsoft product. You can do the comparison. If Microsoft product suits you well, you should be going with that. And mostly on Azure servers and the Azure environment, even on on-premises environment as well, we recommend to go with Microsoft Defender products, which because Defender is really nice in integration and as well as giving you visibility. Okay, so all of these questions, and basically what happens is we can help you out with that. And we have the contacts of our Azure sales specialist, and we actually met her in the beginning of this call. You can just reach out to us and we can help you out with your secure score journey. And if you have any questions, you can drop in the chat window here and I'll be able to answer. Any questions we have? Perfect. In that case, we'll wrap this call up. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can reach out to Abby and we can have a one-to-one session understanding your questions in your environment.
Thanks everybody for joining.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.